For the longest time, I basically had this self-diagnosis. I just didn't get the world. It felt like I was always missing something. In every conversation, at school, just out on the street. It was this really deep personal feeling of being on the outside looking in.
It's a specific kind of feeling, right? That sense that there's some kind of memo that went out to everyone but you. Like they're all playing a game and you don't even know the rules. And this quote, this just nails it. It feels so personal. It's not just that you're confused, it feels like the whole world is set up specifically to make you feel excluded. But after years of feeling this way, I had this realization, and it changed everything. Okay, let's really get into this, because this right here is the game changer. For years, my story was, I can't understand. But that wasn't it at all. I did understand what people were saying, what they were doing. The real issue? I just didn't agree with it. My values, my perspective, it was just different. So if understanding isn't about agreeing, then what is it even made of? To figure that out, we have to go right down to the foundations. We have to talk about how we process reality itself, and that starts with the very nature of thought. So get this, thinking isn't a passive thing. It's not like watching a movie. It is an act of creation. You're literally building an alternate reality inside your head, a simulation that lets you test things out, make sense of the world, and figure out how to navigate it. But what are the building blocks of that little universe? And here it is. This is brilliant. Just like the physical world is made of atoms, our thoughts are made of words. You literally cannot think about fire. You can't even dream about it if you don't have the concept, the word for fire, stored in your mind. Words aren't just for talking to other people. They are the raw material we use to build our entire mental world. And we use that world to make every single decision. Which brings us right to the crossroads of choice. When we face a decision, we're basically navigating between two really fundamental ideas that shape our lives. Now check out this distinction. On one hand, you've got the probable. This is the stuff that's likely to happen. It's what we expect, it's the safe bet. But on the other hand, you have the possible. And that's the entire universe of what could happen. Everything from a 99% certainty all the way down to a 1 in a billion long shot. We see this play out all the time. Choosing a stable career, like becoming a doctor, that has a really high probability of leading to a good, comfortable life. But trying to launch a world-changing startup, well, that's a low probability path. The reward could be massive, sure, but the chance of actually getting there is tiny. And this is the central tension, isn't it? Most of us, for very good reasons, we build our lives around what's probable. We crave security, predictability, but when we do that, we often completely ignore the incredible power that can be hiding in those tiny, seemingly insignificant possibilities. And this tension basically creates two different kinds of people. Let's call them the probable lovers and the possible lovers. And believe me, they both play an absolutely essential role in how our society works and how it survives. So your probable lover is the bedrock. They're the ones who keep the lights on. They follow the proven path, and their main question is always, what's most likely to work? They create stability. Then you have the possible lover. This is your adventurer, your innovator. They live by the question, what if? They're out there on the edges, chasing those crazy long shots. And the way these two groups interact is fascinating. So picture this. Society is moving along on this one big, stable highway built by the probable lovers. Meanwhile, the possible lovers are seen as weirdos, maybe even reckless. They're often criticized for wandering off the main road. But then, the highway hits a dead end, a cliff, a crisis. The old way doesn't work anymore. And in that moment, who does everyone turn to? They turn to the outliers, the ones who were exploring all those other little side paths all along, looking for a new way forward. So this whole thing isn't just about society. It's incredibly personal. We all have to figure out this balance in our own lives. And what's interesting is that our own balance tends to shift over time. Just think about it. As a kid, you are a natural possible lover. You try everything, you explore, you're not afraid to fall down. But as you get older and you start accumulating responsibilities, the gravity shifts. You become a probable lover. You have a career, a family, you have things to protect. Your focus naturally turns to security and keeping things stable. And I think this really is the key takeaway. This isn't about one being good and the other bad. A healthy life and a healthy society needs both. We absolutely need the stability that comes from chasing the probable, but we also need the wisdom and the courage to explore and invest in the power of the possible. So, the final thought I'll leave you with is this. As you go about your life, making choices every single day, which role are you playing? Are you the one shoring up that stable, predictable path for everyone? Or are you the one out there, exploring one of those tiny possibilities that just might change everything?